Hi guys, how are you today? I just want to make a video about the French Open final. I want to review the semi-finals there. So let's get into it, okay? So the French Open semi-finals. What happened? Well, Tsitsipas. Now let's go into the Nadal match. Nadal, Schwartzman, they both got very consistent ground strokes. They're both ralliers, both have good defensive ability and speed, but the difference is Nadal has the biggest shot on the court. He has the forehand, and Nadal really dominated this one with the forehand. And I felt like he was like a little bit nervous, Diego Schwartzman, because he's never been to the semi-finals. That benefited Nadal here. And yeah, Nadal took advantage of that. But even if Diego was playing better at his absolute best, it maybe would have been the difference between a straight sets victory from Nadal and a four sets victory. I just really felt like Nadal, like the top spin going high up and Diego being short, and he benefited that. Even though they changed the balls to get rid of the top spin, he was still able to get some. And the power of the forehand. And he was able to have the same consistency or maybe even better because Diego made some errors. Same level of defense there, and but more power. So more winners and more ability to control the point. So then Diego didn't want to let Rafa just control the points with his forehand. So then he had to go outside of his normal game, take risks, and get errors. So when he did that, he came up with errors. When he played it safe, Nadal controlled it with the forehand, got high balls and made it uncomfortable. And then the next shot had short balls to take advantage and control the rally. So Diego was sort of going in between the two, like either being controlled or taking ridiculous risks and getting errors. So basically, it just came down to that. Rafa has more power. They're both consistent. They're both fast. Rafa also is more on the serve too. I felt Rafa was a bit inconsistent in the first set, and then towards the end of the third set when he let Diego Schwartzman break back. But really, I just felt like Rafa just played a really good game, but yeah, probably 10% of the 15% of the time he wasn't at his best level. May need to fix that one up for the final, but good enough to move through. So Rafa moves through. Then let's look at the other semi-final, right? So I spoke that Tsitsipas in his match against Rublev. Sorry about that. Yeah, I spoke about Tsitsipas in his match against Rublev. Yeah, like what he needed to do and what he did was he basically had the Federer game when he's successful against Nadal or Djokovic, attack with a lot of power, shorten the points, come into the net and finish. He had to do this today against Novak Djokovic. The first two sets, because it's the second time he's been in a Grand Slam semi-final. We saw him in the Australian Open in 2008. So he's been there, but he's never been to a final. So he's playing for a final somewhere he's never been. There was nerves. So what happened was he went for too much in the first two sets, made a lot of errors. So all Djokovic had to do was defend well, have his ground strokes consistently on the court, and get back the first serves, particularly of Tsitsipas, and make him rally off the first serve. So Djokovic was effective, lots of first serves back, lots of rallies on the first serves of Tsitsipas, but then like one game each set, Tsitsipas was broken by in those rallies going for too much and making errors. So Djokovic picks up a break each set, holds serve, just really not really hitting a lot of winners, but just getting back his first serve, forcing him into rallies on the first serve, and just rallies in general where he would have the not make it many errors, very few, and good defense. So Tsitsipas is getting no errors, so he has to end the point. It's very hard for him to end the point because Djokovic is defending well, and it's a very slow clay surface at night to hit through him. So, and then the nerves again makes you want to hit it too hard and go out. So he did that. He went down two sets to love, Basically, Djokovic is, even though he's doing those things right, he's not playing with power. He struggles to get through a slow court. So if you're not going to make errors, you can do something. So then suddenly Tsitsipas's powerful game, it came together like the Rublev match. He's basically said, Djokovic, you may be getting back my serves, you may be defending well, you may be not making mistakes, but you can't hurt me. So I'm going to go and I'm going to play with power and I'm going to finish the points. And even though it's hard because the court's slow, I'm going to do it. He did that. His powerful shot started landing in. Same sort of pattern of the Rublev match. So Tsitsipas gets the third set and the fourth set. Djokovic is just playing good defense, keeping the ball on the court like a Ferrer, I guess even a Schwartzman style. Backy will make more errors. In the first two sets he did. In the next two, Tsitsipas overpowered him to force a fifth set. The problem is Tsitsipas is one of the most nervous players in the big moments. So now it's one set, a fifth set, to decide if he goes through to his Grand Slam final. He was up 5-1 and 2-1 in the US Open fourth round against Coric, and Tsitsipas just messed the whole thing up. This like he was serving for the final of the German Open in Hamburg, messed that one up. So and then Djokovic, one of the best, if not the best, fifth set pressure situations. So you basically got the best versus the worst under pressure in a fifth set. Then on top of that, Tsitsipas was tired. He went back for going too much, making errors. Djokovic put a little bit more on his shots, a little bit of depth, moving him around, taking him out of position, and then Tsitsipas just went back for going for too much. Really, you need to face your pressure when you're against Djokovic on a slow surface, because he'll get back all your serves, he'll give you nothing, he'll defend, and you'll be forced to win it off your racket. And if you're feeling the pressure, you won't be able to do it. If you're hot, you're on fire, you can get it. But he wasn't, so Djokovic wins, and now we're left with Nadal versus Djokovic in the French Open final. I want to get into that one, the tactics and all of that, and what you can expect and what's going to happen there. So what I would say is this. I would say when they meet on a hard court, I'll talk the difference between a faster surface and clay, right? Djokovic until recently, which is why Rafa has improved his serve, to say, I'll start the point ahead. I won't go for an ace, even though there will be a few aces, but I'll start the point ahead from my serve. Put Nadal on the defense. The serve started you in a rally with Nadal, which are both good rallies, but Nadal's in a defensive position, you're in an attacking position. Like he hits a short ball for serve, and then you hit an attacking shot, and then you push him back and back and back and control the point. When Nadal's serving, when Nadal misses the first serve, he attacks the second serve, puts Nadal into a defensive position. Then it's a rally where Nadal's under pressure, having to turn defense into offense and turn it around from a bad position in the rally to win it. And the only time Nadal gets ahead in the point is off his first serve. So 75% of the time, Nadal's under pressure, starts the point behind and has to under pressure. But if it's someone who is way better at rallying, he could do that. But someone who's almost as good as him in the rallies, if you're 75% of the time starting the rally behind, always under pressure to turn the rally around, then it's hard. And then even on Nadal's first serve, Djokovic says, well, I won't start the point ahead, but I'm going to try to use my return to make it that you can't start it ahead. So it could be 50-50 rallies sometimes on Nadal's first serve. Sometimes Nadal starts the point ahead, but the other 75%, Djokovic is always starting the point ahead with his second serve return or his serve, and then Rafa is under pressure from the beginning of the rally, having to turn the whole rally from Djokovic in control to him in control. Because and that started not by Djokovic's ability in the rally, but by being a better return of serve and a better server, and also one maybe he's not quite as good as rally as Nadal, but almost as good. So, but when you start that rally when you're in control because of your attacking return and serve, so then what he's got to do, he's in control of the point, Djokovic. He's got to end it. And once you're in control of the point, it's much more easier. It's easier to end it anyway because you're the one in control. But if it's a faster surface, what you're doing, you're not trying to build a point. You're ahead. You want to finish it. So obviously, if it's a faster court, it's easier to finish it because the other guy needs to play defense, get all these balls back and turn it around. They'd want more time to play the defense. You would want it to be quicker so you could just say, I'm in control, let's end it. And that's the situation that's quite easy for Djokovic that he does. So for Nadal to do better, he needs to improve his serve and attacking return of serve. So then they can say that evens out and just comes down to the rallies. But then on clay, which we're playing right now, what happens here is the fact that you need to have a huge, extremely powerful sort of return here. To have an impact off the to start the point ahead and get control of the return of serve, which Djokovic doesn't have. You need like an Isner or at least a Federer type serve to get control over the point on clay, especially this slow clay. Djokovic doesn't have that. So now this whole thing where Djokovic starts 75% of the points ahead and Nadal's always under pressure to turn it around. The court's fast, so it's hard for him to play the defense to turn it around because it's easy for Djokovic to end the point because the court's fast. Now Nadal doesn't have that problem. Now there's no Djokovic starting the point ahead very often off his serve because his serve's not impacting through the slow clay court. Then on the second serve return, that's not having an impact. So now it's all 50-50 rallies, not where Djokovic is starting 75% of the rallies ahead. So now that's not an impact. It's just the serve or return for Eve is not really having much of an impact. It's just coming down to long, grueling rallies. Who has the ability to end it and all of that? That's what happens on clay. Both of them face this issue. They're both great. They're both consistent, so they're not going to give each other any errors. They're both great defenders, so when your opponent's not giving you any mistakes or errors and you're under pressure, you've got to say, he won't give me anything and I have to end the point because the point's not going to end from him making a mistake. It has to only end from me hitting an attacking, powerful shot to get a forced error or a winner. So then both of them in that situation. And then off a very slow clay court, these guys, Nadal and Djokovic, even on a fast court, can just get anything back, and it's very hard to get past their speed and defense to end the point. But then when you have an extremely slow clay court, how are you going to end the rally? Because now Djokovic gets everything back on a hard court, has the ball's traveling slower, so there's even more time. So just to end the point is hard. Same with Djokovic. Nadal's getting all these miraculous shots on fast courts. Now the ball's traveling slower. He has more time, so it's like a wall. So how are you going to end these long rallies? Because your opponent's not going to give you anything. The court's slow, your opponent's fast, you need to end it. And they're all 50-50 rallies now, like I said, because of the clay court. So it just comes down to this. Nadal's biggest shot on the court is the forehand. He has the power to hit through a slow court and a great defender to end the point. Djokovic doesn't have a shot like that. Also, when they're on a fast court, like Djokovic can hit through the court quickly and the ball travels so fast, Nadal has a huge motion on the forehand, so it can get through the court before he can finish the motion and get in position. So now Nadal always has time to finish the motion and put his full huge motion on the forehand, full swing. It's never going to get through the court before he can do that. He always has time to really load up on the big backswing. Number two is when you go to his backhand, he has a chance to run all the way around, hit a forehand with the full motion of it when you're going for his backhand and control the point that way and hit 1, 2, 3 forehands to end it. So he has that. Now he has time to load up on the forehand, time to, if you go for his backhand, to run around and hit a forehand. And then he has the power to get through any slow court and any defender. Whereas Djokovic just doesn't have that. So he'll be hitting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, feel like he's not getting anywhere and have to take a risk and go for too much and make errors. Plus also like the top spin on a clay court, Nadal's balls go a bit higher. And on a slower bouncing court, Djokovic balls will go in the knees, Nadal's will be at the hitting zone because of the top spin. But on this type of court, Djokovic's will be in the hitting zone, Nadal's will be around shoulders, neck, up there. So then that's another impact of playing on a clay court. But really, the thing is, Nadal always has time to hit up. You can't go to his forehand and he can run around on the backhand. And then Djokovic just doesn't have that huge shot. So when he's on a slow court against a great defender, you need like a Thiem forehand, a Nadal forehand, a Del Potro forehand, um, a backhand from Stan Wawrinka. He has good consistency, has enough power to get through a clay court against a slower defender. He has ability against a great defender on a faster court, but a very slow clay court and a great defender like Nadal, he's struggling to find ways. Like he's trying drop shots, he's trying all these things, whereas Nadal has all this time to just set up and load up on the forehand. Djokovic, um, like him having this extra time, he has a short backswing, so he's ready. If the ball's coming fast on a fast court, he's always going to get through his backswing in time. So he doesn't need that extra time because his backswing's short anyway. It doesn't help him in any way. It just makes it harder for him to generate the power to get through this court. Whereas Nadal sometimes doesn't have the time to just really set up on the forehand or run around the backhand and get in position to even get back if he's runned around. Now he has all the time to load up on the forehand, run around the backhand, and then now he's getting through those full swings all the time, always time to set up and can hit for any defender. Whereas Djokovic, he's gaining nothing from having this extra time. He already has enough time to set up on faster courts. So that's the issue you find, and that's why I say Nadal's going to win. It's going to be lots of long rallies. The serve and return won't have much impact, and Nadal will have the ability to set up and finish points with the forehand, and Nadal's going to take his 20th Grand Slam. As far as like the mental battles in the game, like you've seen, like Serena Williams has been one Grand Slam short of the record for like her whole career, and oh no, it's been a couple of years, but like the pressure to just do that. So Nadal, number one, has to break through that himself on his first time, whereas Serena hasn't been able to do it. And then to face like the guy who's been the biggest thorn in your side, who you've had the most losses. Every time when you come up against a guy who's beat you more in the head to head, it's a big moment. Like you haven't had as much success. You may have a bit of doubt. You need to break through. So to break through and beat a guy who's caused you a lot of trouble, that's a big moment and a hard moment to break through. And then to do it against a guy who's beat you more than you've beat them, you've had all these losses, and to have that breakthrough and then to do that and to do that breakthrough in a Grand Slam final is also hard. So you get that, and then the fact you're going for the all-time record, like so when Serena's doing it, doesn't matter who she's playing, but he's got to break through Djokovic, which he's had trouble, do it in a Grand Slam final, and he's also going for the Grand Slam record. So many barriers, but it'll be the sweetest of all for Nadal because if he firstly to get the record, which he won, and any way you did that, it would be amazing. Then to do it at the place that's represent the most success of his career, the French Open, that would be more amazing. And then to do it by beating your greatest rival and the one who's caused you the most trouble in your career, to have the sweetest victory, beating the guy that's given you the most trouble, and that the day that you get Federer's record, the 20th Grand Slam, and to do it at your favorite Grand Slam you had the most success. So there's a lot of pressure, a lot of hardship, but a lot of reward. So it's going to be interesting to see how Nadal goes through the mental. If there's no mental barrier, like I said, Nadal, for the reasons I've mentioned, is better on a clay court. So let's get into how the impacts of this match affect like the history of the game, the GOAT debate, and all of that, because that was in my title. Okay. So what I want to say is this: if Nadal wins, he's at 20 Grand Slams. Djokovic is at 17. Federer is 20. Now, if you look at what that would mean, Federer is at 20. So two guys will have 20, Nadal and Federer, but Nadal is 5 years younger. So it's not like now like Federer has the most, but Nadal has these 5 years of extra time. Can he catch up? No, there's no catching up. The catching up's over. Two guys are at 20 Grand Slams, but one guy is just 5 years younger, the greater chance to achieve. So the whole thing with Nadal and Federer, the best chance Federer has is tying, but that's probably small. So basically, we'll just consider he's won that. The battle with Djokovic, 20-17, right? Like if you look at a lot of people thought Djokovic would pass Nadal and Federer, and he would have done it by now. The problem being is for Djokovic is the fact that if he's 3 behind, he's got to One thing is to get Federer's 20 because he's not likely to win more or maybe one more, but to get a guy who's your age, who's likely to win as much as you are, but he's got a free head start, so you need to get 3 to tie and 4 to beat him. Very difficult. And then if you look at it, he's not since 2016. At the end of that year, he was 2 Grand Slams behind Nadal. Look, Nadal got 2 Grand Slams in 2017, pushed it out to 4. Then Nadal got the French Open, pushed it out to 5, but then Djokovic got Djokovic got like then the next few he got Wimbledon 2018, US Open 2018, Australian Open 2019. So as you can see, pushing it back to 2 again. But then last year they win 2 each. Nadal gets the US Open in 2019 and the French Open. Djokovic gets the Wimbledon and the Australian Open. So again, no increase. They got 2 each. Then it'll be the same in 2020. Didn't increase on him 1 Grand Slam because Djokovic gets 1 Australian Open, Nadal gets the other French Open. So you see 2020, they're at 1 each. 2019, they're at 2 each. They're just both getting older and nothing's really happening. So just to say now they're getting into the mid-30s and it's still 3 ahead, when in 2016 it was 2 ahead. There's no trend to say he'd be able to catch him. Federer, yes, because he's not winning anymore because of his age, but someone your age who's at 20 and a free lead, you won't do it. So then there's a huge chance the Grand Slam race could be decided in this match. So that's what I say. But then if Djokovic wins, on the other hand, he's got 18, Nadal 19, Federer 20. So imagine that he's now only 1 behind Nadal. He's got the confidence of winning against Nadal at the French Open, Nadal's best Grand Slam. And then we're going to the Australian Open, his best Grand Slam. So imagine he's 1 behind. He's going to the place he's won it 8 times. He has the confidence to saying, if I can beat you at the French Open, how will you have a chance to beat me here when I've won it 8 and you've won it once? And Nadal will be low on confidence. He couldn't win his own French Open. Now he's got to try to beat Djokovic at the Australian Open when he's only won it once. So that basically guarantees Djokovic will be even better than the French Open and more confident than ever. And Nadal will be like, not even saying, I'm not even taking care of the clay anymore. So then it's only one. That 1 Grand Slam basically ends in January. And now Djokovic is a year younger, got all the confidence on this huge winning run, and now they're at 19 each. So basically, this has a huge chance to affect who wins the most Grand Slams. So that's what I wanted to say about that. Sorry about that. And then let me just finish by this. So the tennis authorities don't want Nadal to go down as the best ever. I just want to point that out. Like, they really don't. Because what they do is they have this idea. We have 3 Grand Slams on grass and hard court. Most players that are good on hard court and grass are good on both. That's Federer and Djokovic. So they can just say, well, 3 of the last 4 Grand Slams, 3 or 4 Grand Slams, I don't have to win every one even on my best serves. And I can win just a decent percentage, and I don't have to even win on clay because I can just say, well, there's still 3 of the 4 on a surface that suits me. So it doesn't matter how I do on clay. And I don't have to win all the time on hard court and grass because I get it the majority of the time. So there's lots of opportunities. And it's always been like that. Like the clay court players only won on clay, and the hard and grass court players, and very few times a clay court would win on hard court and grass, or a hard and grass court player would win on clay. It's just not. It just doesn't happen much. And then if you look at it, the best players in the history, like Sampras won 14 Grand Slams, all grass on hard court. Djokovic has 17 Grand Slams, 16 of them are 17 grass on hard court. Big deal to change over the clay. Federer, he's got 19 on grass on a hard court. So you just deduct 1 Grand Slam from Djokovic and Federer for clay. It's like they don't need to because they've got the majority on their surface. Whereas Nadal has to win basically 100% on clay because there's only a limit that he'll be able to win on a surface that doesn't suit him. So he needs to pile huge numbers of Grand Slams. And when you're only getting 1 a year, you need to do it 100% of the time. You need to do it 100% of the time. Do you get what I'm saying? So, and then also, even that's not enough. You can't just win one, like Federer and Nadal, or like Djokovic and Nadal, or you can't just do what Sampras did. Not being able to adapt to the surface. You need to win many. So he's had to win almost 100% on clay courts, which he's done, but quite a number on a surface that doesn't suit him, which he's done. So nobody ever thought he would do that. You would think if you got 3 of the 4 Grand Slams on your favored surface, uh, you'll win the most because you don't even need to do that, win all of them on the surface that suits you. And you don't even need to win any on a surface that doesn't. It's just everything's set up for you to win. So everything's set up like this. But now Nadal has 19 Grand Slams, plus his injuries has been against him too. But he's got 19. He may be at 20. He may tie Federer tomorrow. And then this whole situation thinking that either Federer or Djokovic is what these people want who run it. They want them to win the most. They said this may not work for us, even though we've given them 3 Grand Slams on their best surface and Nadal won. Nadal may have the most. Our plan may have failed. It may not be a plan, but it may be like tradition with the history of the game. But it's just set up, and all the greats are good on hard and grass court, and the clay court is only have one chance a year, and it's just set up to be that way. That's what tennis should be. That's what they think it should be. It's not even about Nadal specifically. It's just about clay court players in general and hard and grass court players. But now Nadal's ruined the status quo. All these greats will now see a clay courter who, even though you only got in 1 of the 4 Grand Slam, have the mo. They don't want that. They want to stop that. So what they've done is they've said, well, if we can't do it by giving Djokovic and Federer 3 Grand Slams of the 4 that suits them, and Nadal 1, if even that's not enough, now we have to change a few more things. So what have they done? They have changed like last year, Nadal in 2017, he won 2 at the US Open and the US Open, right? And then the French Open. So every second year he's getting the French Open. Oh, sorry, the US Open every second year, French Open every year. But he's been 10 years since he's won the Australian Open or Wimbledon because they're lower bouncing. The US Open's been the slowest of them outside the French, the most high bouncing, and then clay is even slower again and even higher bouncing. So obviously, the more slower and high bouncing you are, the closer to clay. That's been the US Open, so that's why he's winning that every second year, and then the French Open every year. So by doing that, by winning 2 of the 4, he's stopping Djokovic catch up. He's passing Federer. So they think, well, we need to do something because it's not 3 versus 1. He's winning 2, and the other guys are doing well on the other 2. So that's really spoiling what we would like for the game of tennis. So now what they've decided to do is we have to take away the high bounce of the US Open to make it harder for Nadal. So therefore, it is really 3 that he can't win now instead of 2. And now it's just the clay. And they said, even we need to make it hard for him to win the French Open because the high bounce on the clay, we need to have the slowest ball that doesn't bounce and take his top spin away from that too. So then they said, by doing that, by now making it even harder, we should guarantee that Nadal won't go down as the best. Because obviously what we had before, where we had a really slow hard court at the US Open that was closer towards clay and bounced quite a lot, again closer to clay, in that we need to take that away. And even the clay courts, we need to take that away by having a slower ball, at least take the bounce away. We can't speed it up really because it's clay and sort of tradition, and they have to do the French Open. But that's why in 2020, what we saw is 2 of the Grand Slams are on natural surfaces, Wimbledon and the French Open, right? So you can't change that. But the 2 hard courts, Australian Open and the US Open, they have a company that supplies it. They change the supplier, they change the courts. And when the Australian Open changes like every 10 or 20 years, US Open haven't changed. Why would they change for the same year? Nadal got to 19 Grand Slams at the end of 2019. That's why. And the same year, like I said, Wimbledon, French Open, because they're natural, they can't change it. But the one thing they can change is the ball, and the French Open changed that. They did all this because they don't want Nadal to go down as the best. It's always been clay courters get 1 Grand Slam a year, and mostly players win most on their surface, and 3 not. so they're never going to amount a lot. But Nadal has, because he's won the French Open ridiculous amounts, 100%, and he's still winning quite a lot. Whereas, like, if you had two Grand Slams on clay and two on grass or hard court, you compared him to Federer or Djokovic, it wouldn't even be anything. He would be 10 Grand Slams ahead. But even with this advantage, makes it equal. But now it's looking like even that's not enough. So they're changing more things. All the greats, it's based in America, Britain, Australia, places like that. They all just say, well, clay doesn't matter because they're not good on clay. They don't want it to be important. They all want it to be their type of player, and they want another player like them to be the best ever, grass and hardcourt. Nadal's ruined it, so now they've tried to change some things to make it even harder because having three of the four Grand Slams on surfaces that suit Federer and Djokovic and only one that suits him hasn't been enough because of the reasons that I've said. So, but like I said, this has a huge implication on who will have the most Grand Slams. Usually, like what you have like between Djokovic and Nadal. Oh, by the way, I also think the draw, they may have put Themes on Nadal's side of the draw, so we had to get past Thiem and Djokovic to make it harder. I also think they did that because they want to protect Federer's record, and if not, they want Djokovic to have the most Grand Slams. But another thing I'll talk about this Grand Slam final is the fact that, like, usually there's a whole 2 month clay court season in the lead up to it, right? So like Djokovic and Nadal, it just comes to two players that had a 2 month clay court season. So they both have the same preparation. Even Nadal plays more, so he's a bit better preparation. And it just comes down to who's the better player on clay, with both a 2 month clay court season leading into it. But Nadal maybe one or two more tournaments. But this year, it's not just two players with the same preparation, but the only difference is one guy is better on this surface, so he's likely to win. No, Nadal has one advantage, they're playing on clay. Djokovic has another advantage, a better preparation. He got like 5 matches, the Western and Southern Open, moved in New York. The first 3 rounds for the US Open and a bit of the fourth round, so 8 matches. Then after 8 matches, the Nadal's got none, even though it's not on the surface, still 8 matches better than none. Then he gets a full 10 days off after the 8 matches, and now he's fresh. So he can play again. And then he gets a full maximum 5 matches in Rome, wins it, gets the confidence. So now he's got 13 matches in total and 5 matches already on clay on this surface, whereas Nadal just has 3 matches at Rome because he didn't have any preparation to Rome. So it's harder for him to win. So if you just focus on the clay, it's 5 matches before the French Open to 3 in favour of Djokovic. If you look on all surfaces, it's 13 matches to 3. And then he's been able to build like 8 matches, 10 days off, then another 5 matches, then another week off, then the French Open, perfect preparation. So usually, like I said, they have the same preparation, or Nadal a bit better, and the only advantage is the surface. So it just comes down to who's better on the surface. Nadal has the advantage of the surface, but Djokovic has a way better preparation, and Nadal's not even ready. So I think the advantage of clay has been even out because one of them has the surface they prefer, and the other has the better preparation. So those two almost equal this out. And then the fact is they're playing on October, the top spin, the high bounce. That's taken away the advantage away, plus the fact that he doesn't have the preparation and Djokovic does. So all of this equals it out. So, and then but this is definitely Nadal's biggest challenge. And most likely the winner of the most Grand Slams will be the winner of this match. And people running tennis just don't want to see that. So that's what I have to say about all of that. And my prediction I said I believe Nadal will win when I went over the tactics. Why will Nadal win? Oh no, I said why will he win? I'm just going to say what I think it'll be. I wouldn't be surprised I'm going to say Nadal in 4 sets, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's like straight sets, but 3 sets where like the total points won is almost equal, but Nadal just gets him by a couple of important points each set. They're basically equal, but Nadal wins in the straight sets. That could happen, or it's going to be Nadal in 4 sets. Again, there's still a small chance it could be a 5th set. And if Djokovic was to win, it would be if he just finds a way to hang around, and the pressure of Nadal getting this 20 Grand Slams comes into play in the fifth set. And then that puts it Djokovic's way, or the fact that just the memories of like the history. And Djokovic really, you can't really outplay him. It's just gets into a fifth set. It's a mental thing. The breaking through the 20 Grand Slams, or Djokovic great history against him. That's really the way that Djokovic, but it's about a 10% chance, or maybe 15, that'll happen. Well, like I said, it's mostly going to be 3 very close sets to Nadal, or 4, and a chance of 5. But Djokovic's best chance if he can get it to 5 somehow. But I'm not saying that even if they're 5, and I had to say I know they're 5, I would still go with Nadal slightly, even under that. But if Djokovic, at least Djokovic gets maybe a 45% chance, 42% if he can get it. But it's going to be hard for him to get it there for all the reasons that I mentioned and the tactics and all of that. So that's the end of my video today. I have other videos about the GOAT debate. I'm going to have an interview with Federer. I'm going to link with him live on Zoom after the French Open. Please don't forget to subscribe, give me the thumbs up, bell notification. And yeah, subscribe and look out for my videos. And thumbs up, yeah, okay. Have a great day or night wherever you are in the world. Enjoy the final. And the last point I forgot to make is a record is going to be broken no matter what. Even Nadal's going to get to 20 Grand Slams and tie Federer, which is a huge thing. Or Djokovic is going to be the first player to win all 4 Grand Slams twice. That's a huge thing. Every time Nadal goes to the Australian Open, he's playing for that. Federer, the French Open, Djokovic. So Rod Laver's, I think, the only one that's done it. It's a huge lead just to go to all 4 and repeat it. That's a very hard thing to do. So he's playing for that, but then Nadal's playing for to tie the most Grand Slams in the history of the game. One of those records is going to happen, and probably the determination of who ends up with the most Grand Slam. Not definitely, but they'll be huge favourites, and it's a huge impact. So there's that. So enjoy the match. Remember, thumbs up, bell notification, and subscribe. And I've got a lot of things coming up, as I said. Bye for now. Have a great day or night wherever you are. Bye. Thanks for watching.